Oh, yeah. It is Friday. RonMcRichards.com, broadcasting live from 234 King Street East, downtown Toronto, out of the Pacific Junction Hotel. And we are ready to go on what will be a Friday Pick-a-Palooza. Now, Dave, I never asked you last week. What did you go? I know on the on the radio show.
On the radio show, 4-1.
4-1.
Yeah. On this show, I think it was 2-2. So it wasn't
2-2,
as good.
which
as
is
crap.
Way below your level. You know what Victor Newman was? Basically, we went 8 for 9.
Sweet.
Victor made his picks yesterday. You know what, roast beef? We may put those up at some point. Victor's picks, if you want to have those ready if we go to it. But we've got Dave Bastel's foreplay. Now, do we have the music ready, too? Because we'll probably have to look for those intros. Did we use the last week? You look confused. There's problems.
You had the intros on your computer last time.
Yeah, weren't you playing them? Weren't you pumping them out?
Are you sure I did?
Pumping out the songs?
Yeah, I never queued them up.
Okay, so I'll look for those. Once again, me doing everything.
Sounds like it.
Okay, so that you're going to get fined. Roast beef is getting fined for that. I didn't think I did. Are you sure I did?
Pretty sure.
Okay, there's another song.
Well, that's a wrap.
Yeah, see,
Let's call it a day.
Have yourselves a great weekend. Now I got to put all that stuff in there. We have the golden picks of the sexy golden picks of Gold Sex.
That's right.
We've got that going on. And
Yep.
then, of course, the Dave Bastel foreplay. Jimmy the Bag going to be in here this morning, which we always love, always does so great. Hopefully things have been good in his world. You just kind of never know.
Although last week he was debating me about that Green Bay Atlanta game, and he looked at me like I was from Mars by picking the Falcons. So just saying.
We disagreed on the Oklahoma
Yes,
game,
and he fell short on that one too.
Yeah, only by half a point, but,
hey.
Once again, I'm the winner.
You either have a W beside your name or an L.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what? You know what the one thing is? And I got to stop watching movies that I've seen before, like actually taping them.
Okay.
Happy Gilmore again the other night.
I've watched it. I haven't watched that lately.
But why is it? Because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I started watching it. It seemed funny. No, it's funny.
No, it's funny as hell.
It's funny.
Yeah. My kids' kids will be watching that.
Yeah.
That's how good that is.
And here's what I love about this. The critics hated all those movies. The Waterboy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. They hated all that stuff. And guess what? Millions of dollars in revenue.
Happy Gilmore was the best out of the group, but there was nothing wrong with anything. That's why I don't like people coming up and saying, Adam Sandler's crap. He's lost it. He's not.
No,
he's fantastic.
Except for what was that? Grown Ups. Grown Ups 2. I defy you
to see a worse movie.
I can't. And look, you know me.
You've watched the whole thing.
I couldn't. No, I can't. No, I know.
Because you usually give everything a start to finish.
I am so easily amused. If someone were to yank like the cable out of the back of the television.
You've probably watched movies I've been on. Yeah. And that's not good.
Well, yeah. What was it called? Disaster?
Category 7, End of World.
Now, how could that go wrong? Who was the star in that one again?
Gina Gershon.
Okay, I'd watch it for that.
Robert Redford was in that one. Dennis Quaid was in that one.
And also starring Dave Bastel.
Also starring Dave Bastel.
As reporter 4.
2.
Oh, can we hold on? Wait a minute. We can recreate that right now.
Yeah, no.
Hold on. Let me just find it here. I can recreate the moment
As long as you do the voiceover, I'm not doing it.
here, but it has to be like from the movie.
Either you or Mike Luck can do the voiceover for that one.
By the way, Monday we start 94.9. You're going to hear Raw Mike Richards on there
Rock.
too. Yeah, they were talking about it today. They did a great job. We'll have to send out those pics.
Good station.
Here we go. So, what year was that you?
I don't remember. 2000. I'm going to say 2002, 2003, somewhere around there. 2001.
And the premise of the movie.
So basically, what happens is the world, as itself,
Yes.
is experiencing this massive global weather disaster everywhere. So there's pictures of we'll get this for Monday because there's trailers out there.
Oh, we got it. Okay,
There's
definitely we
trailers
need to
out
see
there.
that. I need to see
Like
that.
for example, there's a fake Eiffel Tower that gets knocked over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other in the
Max part French. He's Parisian or something out there. Russell's friend.
Yeah.
Maybe he made it out of toothpicks and
could have been.
Yeah.
He looks like he could do a really good job at set design.
Okay, so the scene that you talk in
the scene I'm in the White House.
Yeah.
And FEMA.
So the press room.
Yeah, the press room.
Yeah.
And the FEMA, the head of FEMA.
And FEMA
is basically FEMA's actually come out during Hurricane Irma. FEMA is basically if there's
International Meteorological
disasters. They come out when something brutal has happened.
And so that
to help people. What do you do and how do you?
And it's Gina Gershon.
And it's Gina Gershon. So it's me and her back and forth.
Okay, so she's talking to me, blah blah blah, and then here we're gonna roll on this. Here we go.
Oh no!
Press conference. Dave Bastel playing himself.
Yeah.
I will be Gina Gershon.
Okay.
And she's just made a statement, and then the camera zooms in on Dave.
Yep. Zoom is on me. Okay. Her name was Miss Carr in the movie too.
Cut. Okay, so
I'm just
okay. Let's try that again.
Starting it.
Press room. Gina Gershon.
Okay.
FEMA. Dave Bastel question.
Sorry.
And rolling. Speed. Music. Action.
Miss Carr, how can we be sure that the people are going to be safe?
We can't. We just can't. And yes, I will sleep with you. Cut. Not in the script, Gina.
You have the right idea when you're like rolling because they pre-roll, right?
Yeah.
It's you're on your mark there.
I will wear that cheerleader outfit for you, Dave Bastel.
Sounds like her too.
I'm the prettiest girl you've ever seen. I'm Gina Gershon.
Wait a second.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Now it's gone
that
to
went really wrong.
Manti Te'o's girlfriend. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Manti Te'o's.
Hey, speaking of Manti Te'o's,
And the world is going to explode. Any questions? No. Fuck, no. No questions. No.
Speaking of Manti Te'o's girlfriend, do we have some Russell Graham music? I need some Russell Graham music because you've kind of guided me into that path.
Okay,
And
so
I need
this
some.
is very quickly.
I need the Graham experience right now because I have an announcement to make.
Because the drive was so bad
Yes.
in here today that badly behind.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. Do your thing. So anyway, so today is not only a Maple Leafs game night.
Oh, that's right. I knew what you were going to say too, and I forgot about that as well.
So the Maple Leafs are hosting Buffalo on a home and home series. Sabres are in town tonight. Tomorrow, the Leafs travel to Buffalo for the second half of it. They're off on Sunday. They play the Montreal Canadiens on Monday. So that's your look at the Leafs schedule. And now I'd like to ask Russell Graham to come up here, and join me, and make sure you put on your hat if you have it.
Here's the roast beef music. I see that Dan Wong in one of that loser show that he does.
That's a big time. I think that's the name of the show, actually, The Loser Show.
Yeah, so he's put it somewhere. But ladies and gentlemen, Russell Graham, and there's something special here today.
Something special, yeah. So today's a pretty big deal on Raw Mike Richards. It is Russell Graham's birthday.
Oh my goodness!
And we like to call him roast beef.
Yes.
Some people like to call him beef stew.
Yes.
Other people like to call him honey buns.
Honey buns.
So on behalf of the show, we'd like to present you with this honey buns bag of delicious, what is it, cinnamon buns? Yeah, cinnamon buns. So honey bun.
His mom calls them honey buns. That's
fun fact.
Yeah, that's
So happy birthday, and what are you doing today, man? What's going on?
We're just here. I'll grab my own.
You sure you don't want to talk to the mic? You want to make this
check,
look
check.
like Dan Wong show or
level,
something?
check, sibilance.
Well, after the show today, probably gonna grab a few drinks and then eventually go to my friend's place and then go to the Madison Avenue pub later tonight.
And then prostitutes. Yeah, that I would like that.
Share honey buns together with prostitutes.
He'll say, "So what do I get?" And she'll say, "Everything." What does everything mean? Oh, you know. Yeah. Oh, that actually. Yeah. I'm actually making this thing work today. Wow, isn't that something? Well, there's roast beef once again. That's huge excitement. Although his friend Mac all of a sudden, and he's leaving. He is just walked out the door.
He forgot it was his birthday today.
Yeah,
and
he's had enough. We've got so much to talk about today, including a game. I got to be honest. You know me. It's raw enough. It's honest enough. And that game last night that was crazy. All the scores, all the excitement. Because of the matchup, I didn't watch the game. I didn't even watch the game. I have no feeling on what happened.
I watched the first half. It was an impressive offensive output by the Rams and an equally poor defensive effort by the Rams, because Rams actually have a pretty good defense.
Like, who would have thought 41-30? Like, I think a lot of people were on the Rams.
Yeah.
And they're getting so much out of this team that Jeff Fisher just did not.
Yeah.
And look, Jeff Fisher is I've always thought a very good football man, but you know, this just goes to show you. I mean, for those that thought, Goff was going to be poor because, last year he just got roasted. But look at the team he was on. Look at how they had it set up. Gurley, people rolling their eyes at Gurley. I got news for you. I mean, these are young guys trying to make their way into the show. And guess what? When they come out of college, I don't care who we're talking about, you're still a kid. You are a kid, and you're playing against men. I mean, there is that jump. I mean, just talk to guys, in the NHL, for instance, even the biggest blue chip stud who comes into the league. If you were to ask them, what does it feel like? They'll walk in that dressing room and see some of those guys that they were in high school watching some of these guys, by the way. And now you got to sit beside them or play against them, and it's like, these guys are men. That's the first thing they're going to tell you, Dave. Mm-hmm. These guys are men. That's the difference. And I think for Goff, NFL quarterbacks, man, you've got to wait and see what you've got. Sometimes you've got nothing. But in this case, we'll see what happens. He really didn't have to move that far from college to where he's playing now. But a guy like Gurley is just a machine, Dave. At some point, barring injury, these guys, especially at running back, you can make it work, and he is a freak athlete.
Yeah, I think so. And he had such an off year last year, so it's nice to see a little bit of a rebound with 3 touchdowns yesterday, 2 rushing, 1 passing, or 1 receiving, I guess. The other thing I like about it is they have a couple nice threats at the wide receiver position in Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins. It appears that a team that was so dismal on offense, they got that quarterback in place. I think he's only going to get better, to tell you the honest truth. So you look at that, you look at all the foundation pieces, the defense look like they know what they're doing. You know what's really funny about this? The head coach is 32 years old. Yeah. The defensive coordinator is 70. I'm not joking. Wade Phillips is 70 years old.
Wade is 70?
Yeah. And Todd McVay is 32 years old, youngest head coach in the NFL. Actually, both coaches yesterday in the game in their 30s, which is kind of a rarity for the NFL.
Okay. You know what? So what I'm going to do right now, and this is sort of a sideline, I wanted to get to it. So what would you call it? A resume film? When you want to be recruited.
Yeah.
What would you call it?
Yeah, like a demo tape for...
Yeah, because demo tape was the word that I know used to be used.
Yeah. I think it's... I think it's fine with that.
So this is high school footage of Todd Gurley. And by the way, so there is no play-by-play. Because look, not that some of those schools south of the border don't do that, because some of them do.
Yes, they do.
The state of Texas, it's just ridiculous what they have. Why are the cops here already? Oh, cops giving the guy a ticket. That's why the scary music is there. Leave him alone. Attica. Sorry. Here is Todd Gurley from high school. So, again, if you've downloaded the podcast, this will be a little difficult. That's why as we say, Dave, you got to watch the show, because no one's showing this today. I don't know where they're showing this, but you should. This gives you an idea. Before he declared going to Georgia, This is what the University of Georgia saw from a high school kid named Todd Gurley. He is obviously in the purple. Watch this. Running over and by Dave. It's just power and speed, and he just literally it's a man playing against boys, and no one's catching him. And trust me, some of those DBs, they got some speed, but compared to the all-around package, now watch this. Like, there are times where he just should not be getting by guys, and it didn't matter. He shreds them. Now, I think this is one of the runs. They after a while kind of look the same a little bit, only because look at this. So they've slowed it down. 4 or 5 guys, didn't matter. Todd Gurley in high school. So at some point, I always think, especially Dave, with the running back, if they stay healthy, if they're smart and playing a system that doesn't bang them up too much, because guess what? They get hit on every play whether they get the ball or not. A guy like that, even after a slow start, can still have himself a career, because at his level of playing football, at every level he played at, he was the best guy. He was the best guy.
Probably started when he was 10, too.
Yeah, easily. And so, again, just that's great tape right there. But I just thought I wanted to show that just so you see kind of what goes on, basically, at the high school level in the States, and just what Georgia saw. So if you're the football coach at Georgia, or the athletic director, it's like, we got to get this kid.
Exactly.
And that's what it looks like. You're watching rawmikeRichards.com, or you should be. Make sure you subscribe. There's 2 ways to do it, and I say to do both of them. Subscribe to the actual site, rawmikeRichards.com, easy to do. And also on YouTube. You see the numbers, they're slowly moving up every day. That's what we want to see. Just that little subscribe button, hit it, and you won't miss a thing, including a lot of the big picks that we'll be making here today. Jimmy the Bag, who right now I see him, he's warming up.
And he has his 49ers hat on,
He's
too.
got his 49ers hat on.
Guess he never saw the game yesterday.
Doing some shots of Jameson, which you got to know, if you're doing that, you are in the club.
He is in the club.
He is in the club. So you know what? Maybe we'll just move some of this stuff out of the way. We'll show a little clip.
Well, we're phoning Phil Gray, too, right? When are we phoning Phil Gray?
Oh, are we doing that now?
Yeah.
Okay. That's, so we'll get some Vegas lines from our guy. And let's also explain, Dave, maybe people, if they've misunderstood what our connection is with Sports Interaction. These are all the numbers we use. All the numbers we use. And it is 100% of your deposit up to $200. So if you're planning on playing, and certainly here in Canada, we got to stipulate that as well, because our good friends in the States, they don't qualify because of the rules south of the border. But if you're going to subscribe and have a bank account or an account with a gaming site, David here, not only on this show, but of course on the Fan 590 here in Toronto, which he does the show Inside the Lines every Sunday. Phil Gray is the lines maker, and he's going to join us in a couple of seconds here.
That's exactly it. Senior lines manager at sportsinteraction.com. And as Mike mentioned, they're throwing out a nice bonus for everybody listening and watching Raw Mike Richards. So go to the site, put your first deposit down, and make sure you drag down on the bar, which will ask you, where did you find us? Where did you hear about us? Drop down to Raw Mike Richards. That's the way you could solidify the bonus. Sometimes, you go there, you sign up, you don't get anything. With us, you get the 100% bonus, and it's up to $200. So 200 quickly becomes 400, 100 becomes 200, and so forth. So well worth your time, and a lot of live numbers out there this morning, including the first game in London, England, which kicks off nice and early here on the East Coast at 9:30. Baltimore 4-point favorites against Jacksonville. Jacksonville considered the home team in this one. So, you're used to that 1 o'clock game, that 4 o'clock game, that 8:30 game. Well, they've added a 4th game, so it's nice to have 4 straight games of NFL action. We look forward to it, and we're phoning Philly right now. So,
we're supposed to be.
Yeah,
and,
we'll get to him in a couple
here.
minutes.
Yeah.
Some of the lines we'll be watching and asking about that have kind of moved a little bit. New England now 14.5 point favorites.
14.5.
It's jumped a little bit. There's some other ones. The uncertainty at the quarterback position for the Minnesota Vikings. And we'll get to Phil right now.
Hi, Phil Gray speaking.
Phil Gray, it's Mike Richards speaking. I can do that too, lower my voice. Phil, buddy, great to have you on the show. It's Friday, which means it's a pick-a-palooza. We got lots to talk about, and this is the first time you've actually been on the show.
Thanks for having me, Mike, and real pleasure to be here.
And I also like your idea of maybe Nikki Newman sometimes making picks, because you saw what Victor did last week, though. He was 8 for 9. That's pretty good against the spread.
I still want to hear Nikki's picks.
Yeah, so that it's nice that you're obsessing about an imaginary woman. Don't know how things are going in your life. But let's take a look at some of those lines, and maybe, Dave, you talked about some of the line movement. So Phil, who's technically is the senior
lines manager at sportsinteraction.com. Yeah.
Okay, so are there any lines necessarily as we go into the weekend that have moved a little bit, but you think might even move a little more?
Right now I'm looking at the boards, and again, it's going to be the guys at Sportsnet kind of tease me when I say it's a white knuckle Sunday again. We've got about 9 games right now where we're going to be sitting on some heavy liabilities. Pittsburgh for sure is going to be one. Kansas City, we've already gone to 3.5. That was at 3. Oakland as well, I can see that getting to 3.5. The Denver game for sure is going to be the biggest liability across the board for the book. That opened at 1. Went to 3, and we're now at 3.5. That could even 4. So we could see some sharp action coming in there sometime on Sunday, but right now I'm not seeing any of it. And it's kind of mirroring last year where you're not sure where the sharps and the publics are differing because they seem to be piling on both sides again this week.
Hey, Phil, good to talk to you again this morning. I noticed that in the little intro there of some of the teams you're looking at, you didn't involve the game of the week, in my opinion. Atlanta at Detroit. This is a pretty damn good matchup in the Motor City, and maybe one of those matchups where we actually see if the lines are for real or not. Where is the money going on this game right now as we head into that Sunday matchup?
Looking at my tickets right now, and 75% of all bets are on Atlanta, but interestingly, the money is kind of split. So we're sitting again on a key number, which we hate, which is 3. And I really don't think that is going to get off of 3. I don't want to go there if we have to, but we may see some late Detroit money, I would think, for sure, with the 3 on Sunday to hopefully balance everything.
Well, looking at and you mentioned some of those liability lines, because I don't think Chicago's going to score a whole bunch. The number that I got this morning, so I made this at 7:14 on Sports Interaction. I've got Pittsburgh at -7. Now, as you know, not a great football number. That normally would make a lot of people nervous. The only thing that I think in that game, I just don't know what Chicago has coming back the other way. I don't think Pittsburgh has been necessarily played their best football after 2 games. At some point, Le'Veon Bell and that first-team offense has to do something. Now, in the world of lines and how they change, as it gets closer to kickoff, how does that money move? Is it the sharp money coming in on Pittsburgh at 7? How does that work in your world? Because a lot of people, quite frankly, Phil, don't know how it works or really don't understand what you do for a living.
Well, Pittsburgh is historically one of those teams that the public just loves. I mean, there's other ones too. There's Dallas. Oakland is becoming one of them now. Green Bay. Seattle used to be, and it's tough to get two-way action on it because you get the casual better, the recreational better, which is who we cater to, who will come in and bet their faith. They think Pittsburgh's going to win. They love Pittsburgh to win. So the number kind of with SIA reflects that. So you'll see them at 7.5. I don't think that's going to get back to 7. I think they're going to pile all over Pittsburgh all day Sunday, and I really would be hesitant to think that's even going to get to 7. 7 is not as key as 3. 3 usually comes in about 15, 16% of the time in the NFL. 7 around 10% of the time. So if I have to go back to 7, I would, but I don't see it.
You talk about 3 being a key number in that Seattle-Tennessee game with the Titans right now on your board at -2.5. Do you see that number jumping to the 3, or do you think it kind of will sit under that field goal mark?
And isn't that an interesting game? If you had the preseason line at that was actually Seattle at -3. So that's been a 5-point swing in that game. But right now we're seeing 50-50 50-50 in the tickets and 50-50 in the money. I don't see that moving on to 3. I think it's going to stay south of 3, and you'll see Seattle. We'll see some money for sure, Seattle money on Sunday, but I don't think enough that's going to push it any farther off of 2.5 or any significant Tennessee money that's going to get it to 3. I think it's going to stay right there.
Phil, last week on the show, Inside the Lines, on Sunday mornings, we had the Sam Bradford reaction as far as the board was concerned, and it came out that Sam Bradford was worth 3.5 points in that game last week. Right now, you have Minnesota at -2. Is it your feeling that Sam Bradford starts this game? And if Bradford, for some reason, walks onto the field on Sunday like he did last week and gets, the no-go and Case Keenum is in, are we going to see another 3-point swing in that as well?
It's interesting. I mean, even some of the sharp books have that book right off the board right now. Not
exactly.
Open at a pick. Now we're at 2. That game could get on to 3 if he plays. We'll see. Again, all the line moves you see across the board, either the sharp books or the square books, it reflects their liability and it reflects what's coming in at that time. It's not a huge secret. I mean, when you see something move, there's some significant money, either public or sharp, moving it.
No, isn't it true? I mean, it's sort of I don't know if a truism or fact, but generally, doesn't sharp money or the sharps who look at these things, aren't they the guys who generally are in first or earlier?
Not really.
No,
you're seeing it now, especially in the last couple of years. No, they're waiting for some stuff to move and coming in on some of the late numbers. It's kind of frustrating. Last year we saw in the NFL some questionable numbers coming out. Green Bay at -3 on a Sunday night, where you just knew the public was going to pound on that, and they did. And a lot of times you clearly can't move off that number. So I'm not sure where some of the Vegas opening lines are coming from. So I'm kind of booking on my own a lot now to our own liabilities, and you'll see at Sports Interaction if you're looking for some off lines. We're certainly there.
Well, that's what we're telling people, Phil. It's been a great early association already. I love the site. I think the numbers are very fair. I think the ability for those recreationally to play is simple to follow. The logistics make sense. If you're going to play in play, it also in terms of the way the site works. I just tell people it is an awesome site, and again, when you start talking about 100% of your bonus coming in, I'm hoping that all the people that watch and download the podcast and watch it on YouTube, that they do the same thing, because honestly, it's a very fair book.
Well, we appreciate that very much. We have a great team here. We've been doing this for 20 years, and yeah, our site is comprehensive and probably you can bet Division III Moldavia under-19 women's handball live with us if you want. We've got it all. So sign up, and we have one of the best crack customer service teams in the business, and they're always happy to help 24/7.
And did you say Stephen Rapp's been doing this for 75 years? That's what I thought too. Yeah. He hardly seems grouchy at all.
Mike, you got that 10. Mike, you got that 10. You got that 10-teamer going this weekend again.
Steve I do.
Sending me some screenshots.
I do.
You just missed it last week.
Well, missed by one, but I'll tell you what, not missing this week. I'm not missing this. No, because here's the other thing too. Because generally, obviously, in Inside the Lines, you're doing 100% NFL. I mean, if there's value elsewhere, I guess maybe you visit it. For me, it's almost 100% college ball. And people say, well, why the square betting? Like, why always taking the favorites? And the reason that I say that is because there are so many schools and so many programs that in a given weekend, it is not that hard to find 4 or 5 complete mismatches. And as long as the football number in their world, not an NFL number, I mean, you're not looking at minus 27.5 in professional football. But when I see teams like Virginia Tech at home to Old Dominion, they could cover that by the half. So therefore, most of mine, almost completely, I'm not looking for the good games. The good games are harder to call, but it's not that hard to find, Pittsburgh, Pitt at Georgia Tech, and if it's under 10 points, that's a gift to me, and that's why I won and win so many college games. Last week it was Seattle. It was probably stupid to take those points, looking at it now, but when it comes to NCAA football, Phil, there's just a lot of really reasonable prices for teams and programs that are so much bigger than the teams that are sacrificial lambs. I call them cupcake games because there's at least 10 or 12 of those things at least every single weekend.
NCAA football has certainly changed since over the last decade since I've been doing this. And I'll give you some insider info trading. David knows how generous I am, and I get in trouble with my bosses for stuff like this. But if you want to look at some of those big spread games in NCAA, where you've got 20, 25, 30-point saves, bet them early because you will see those lines 6, 7, 8, sometimes 10 points. So if you like, Southern Miss, Collegiate Tech playing Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is minus 45, get them early because it's going to go to minus 52 probably.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Sometimes the guys getting in early because those are the kinds of lines in college ball. All these I've got relatively early, and I'm fine with them. And that's a great point. Phil, thanks so much for joining us. As I said, we look forward to a fantastic relationship. Interesting stuff here this morning, and I know we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you next week. Sure.
That is Phil Gray, and he is the senior lines maker for Sports Interaction, and he will join us when it's now. Where do I have this call coming from? Close that window. Okay, I don't even know if Skype's still on. There it goes. And so interesting stuff, Dave, because a lot of people don't. I mean, if they're new to it as well, a lot of people who watch the show, there's still people out there playing pro line.
Yeah,
there's still people playing pro line,
and we ask you this: why?
Yeah.
Why?
Look, and as people know, I won a lot of money doing that years ago. But I'll tell you what, hard to do.
This is what I challenge our listeners, our viewers. Write down or take a screen grab of your ProLine ticket, and I will take the equivalent to what your ProLine ticket is for games and put it on Sports Interaction with the exact same bet, and you will see a significant difference in the payout on the Sports Interaction side. We're just trying to help.
The payout
trying to help.
And the lines, because they're pushing for you to want to play a dog. And sometimes you look at it and get at what point, but it's really hard to justify some of those numbers. And look, does the house want to win? House always wants to win, but it's just so loaded against you that trying to find value, as Dave is talking about, it's almost impossible to find value. Almost impossible.
Plus, the other thing on Sports Interaction, you can go on there, and if you don't like 10 games or 5 games, or in ProLine, a minimum of 3 games.
Minimum of 3.
You can bet one.
Bet one.
You could bet one. You could sit there and say, you know what? I really like the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday morning. I'm betting one game at X amount of dollars, and that's my bet.
Yeah, or just look for when the Jets are playing.
Exactly. Miami.
and you may want to...
minus 6.5.
Yeah.
Pretty good value. It's under a touchdown. Yeah. Do it now.
Unload now, because it ain't going to be under a touchdown by kickoff, and that's what he's talking about. Jimmy the Bag, one of the all-stars of Mike Richards and his team, rawmiterichards.com. Is that a team? It's like the A team.
It is the team.
But not really A is the word I'm thinking of. Jimmy the Bag going to join us after this, next.
Married? Is that, yeah? You think I'm going to get married? Why don't you ask if I want a boss? I need a lineup of salutes, man. I need variety, man.
But have you ever fallen in love with a girl and wanted to stay with them? Or?
No.
So you love but not monogamy?
Well, I love salutes. As I say, man, we keep going back to it. From the bottom of my heart, I love these salutes, man. I love all my salutes. But I just don't want to see one every day. I don't even want to see most of them again. But I love them. I got nothing but love for them. I want them to have wonderful lives. And that's why I enter their lives on occasion. I'm just like, I bring joy. I give gasms that blow their fucking minds, right? So when they're on their deathbed and their grandkids come up to them, they're like, Granny, don't go. And Granny's like, you know what? I think if I close my eyes and I go to that other place, like I don't know if it's heaven or what, but the bag will be there. The bag will be there on all fours, spreading my legs like that, going down on me, mucking around like a champ.
Oh,
I know they think about that stuff, man. When I go down and muck around, dude, I'll go there till the job is done.
Oh,
dude.
boy.
My tongue doesn't stop fucking around.
We didn't need to hear that.
I'm like a fucking
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what RoboCop would be like going down on women, but I always think about RoboCop when I go down on women. I always think, how will RoboCop eat this pussy?
Yep.
I always think about RoboCop.
Yeah. All right.
I bet you RoboCop.
And I think,
but even
well, I think kids, if you had some questions about RoboCop, they were all answered by our good pal Jimmy the Bag. Jimmy the Bag in the house, yo.
Thank you.
Look at that.
RoboCop of betting.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Sure.
of a lot of things. Apparently, that's what we've learned right there. Always good to have the bag in the house. I got to tell you. And look, you did something on your Twitter account that you haven't really presented it that way before, but you had sort of the lock of the week.
Lock of the day.
Lock of the day. Sorry.
Lock of the day. Yeah, I put out the Jimmy the Bag Lock of the Day yesterday to my Twitter followers.
And what was that lock?
It was Carlos Hyde plus 79.5 yards. But again, shopping at different books, you could find it at 76.5, and you could find it up to 81.5. That's why Sports Interaction is so good. You need to shop around for the best lines.
Yeah, and people don't understand that a little bit, and that's why it's like, look, if this is something you do because you enjoy it on the weekends or the level of betting that you're at, you have more than one account in one book. Like
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to find the best lines. You have to get whatever advantage you can, over the books. And that's the best way of doing it. So some guys found it at 76.5. In the first quarter, he had a hip injury, and he left the game. And I went out for a walk. I was very concerned.
Of course you were.
My first lock of the day was
You were pacing?
perilous.
Yes. Yeah.
And Hyde is a beast. I know Gurley's going to get all the attention from last night.
Yeah.
But Hyde is a top flight running back. Came back through the injury, got the yards. Now he waited till about 3 minutes left in the game,
Yes.
which is always uncomforting. But he got the job done. The Jimmy the Bag lock of the day came through. And it was great.
You got a lock for today too. Are you doing it every single day, or how does that work for you?
I'm not sure. The problem with that is that
It's hard to do a lock every day. How the hell are you going to do a lock every day? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I felt so confident that Carlos Hyde would do it that I felt like I had to change the game up and just send it out to my followers. I was so certain. Now the Rams have a great defense.
Yeah.
I
didn't think they were going to allow 39 points against the 49ers yesterday. I didn't think that was going to happen.
I don't know anyone who did. I
actually thought that game was going to go under.
So did I. I had $825 worth of action yesterday. So I started with 3 parlays in baseball and just took it right in the old drink hole. I thought Keuchel was going to deliver the goods, and Carson Fulmer threw a great game. And then that hurt. I had the over in the Twins-Tigers game because I fade Zimmerman all the time. One thing Mike and I have talked about is betting against certain pitchers.
Yes. Yep.
But we get into these situations, and we're in them today, where the pitcher they're facing is so bad as well that instead of betting against them, I just take the over.
Gotcha.
And I've been doing that, and I've got that action today. I had $250 on Hyde on the over yards. I had $50 on 49ers to win +3, 49ers to win money line, and then I tied both of those bets to the under, which lost. But then I had South Florida University Bulls at -19.5, and they won 43-7.
And it's like, because I just finished explaining in college football the cupcake games. I kind of, because it was a Thursday night, and a lot of times they like the Thursday night dogs. The guys who play this a lot love the Thursday night dog. But unfortunately, when you're looking at Temple playing South Florida, who have at least one, maybe 2 guys that they'll talk about Heisman caliber athletes, including the running backs, Flowers, this game is going to be a mismatch, and it was. That's a great call.
It was, and I can't take the credit for it. See, we're building a team, and you guys are a part of this team that we're building. Team of strategists that are out for fatter pockets and hotter sleuths. I got a guy on my team named JB. I want to give him a shout out from Dallas, Texas. He's friends with all those guys on the Bulls. He was Snapchatting them with all of them the night before. He told me that they are primed and they are ready to go. And they are not just going to beat Temple. These boys are going to destroy Temple. And I got that information. I sent that out to my team, and we banked, man.
See, that's how you do it. So also follow Jimmy the Bag on Twitter. Yeah. Right? Because if you're not doing that, I mean, every day you put it out. And here's the other thing, too. Like, as we're going to make our picks here today, we're also sending out exactly the plays that we're making. So it's not like there's some sort of adjustment. Like what we're talking about, we're actually putting money on. So if you lose, you lose. You're going to see it. The bag does that every single day. If he goes over or whatever, you'll say, look, I'm down X amount of dollars. You know, you talk about that.
Absolutely. And the three of us, it's a rarity in this business. We don't sell tips. We are not touts. We're just letting you guys know our action.
Yeah.
What's going to make our pockets fatter. And you guys can come along and join us or not. You can watch us for a bit and see how we do. I know that I had a very rough July and August, and I lost a few followers.
Yes.
Baseball chewed me up and spit me out, but I keep fighting back. I won't let
RoboCop.
Just like RoboCop.
Who's going to stop RoboCop? Nobody.
We're going to need a picture.
He's going to have a couple
RoboCop.
bad days, but then he's going to come back.
Yeah, we need a picture of RoboCop. I don't think we'll find him in the situation that the bag was talking about.
No, but
but you know what? You know there would be.
Oh, for sure.
You definitely know that someone's done RoboCop. Someone has.
It's out.
Somebody has.
It has to be out there. I wonder what Vic.
Oh yeah,
that guy.
Yeah, right.
That guy. Has
Yeah.
seen
Oh, you
the
think?
movie.
Oh,
I wonder what Vic thinks about RoboCop.
he came in yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to bait me to get in there because he was going to come in there.
Wow. Was he talking shit about me?
No, well, yeah, he did actually.
Actually did.
He
Yes.
did. Yeah.
He called you
I don't
Timmy,
know why he's
Timmy the crack pipe.
Jimmy the crack pipe.
No,
Timmy.
Timmy the.
Oh, of course it's
Timmy the
Yeah,
douchebag.
he doesn't give me the respect of Jimmy.
Yeah.
I forgot. Timmy the crack pipe.
He changes a couple letters.
That's not right. That's not very nice. Do we have a picture of our hero today? This is the picture of the day. This is the rawmikerichards.com picture of the day.
Picture of the day.
There he is.
That's
Jimmy the
great.
bag
Yeah.
in his uniform.
Considering the scenario you were talking about, that would be tough for him to see. He's got a.
No, his mouth is available.
Well, I guess that's true. But
Look at that food pussy right
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, that's how he calls it. I don't. That's Detroit's a tough town. Okay, should we get started on some
Yeah,
of
we
the
should
stuff?
get started.
I'm a little nervous. I got to be honest. I'm a little nervous.
Who's going first?
Yeah. So let's get some music for Jimmy here because I think we get. I think that's
Yeah.
we do it all.
No problem.
And I think we've got so.
Oh, but before I do, you got me on the Tulane Oklahoma game.
Yeah.
Tulane was up 14-7, and I was preparing.
No, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
Mike.
That was me.
I was the
I
Falcons guy.
took Oklahoma.
Yeah, okay, it was you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought.
And then it was me. I looked at it and said, no, they'll cover that. But they covered it by half a point.
And it was
Just barely.
14-7 Tulane, and I was preparing the report about how glorious my moves are.
Sorry.
14-7, I had my feet up, rolled a blunt. I was a victor.
Yeah. Yeah. We need those papers again. We haven't seen those beautiful Christmas gifts.
Oh, we'll bring them back.
that you had made. But as we go into this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, I present Excellent Picks by Jimmy the Bag.
New title,
Heard
I like
here on rawmikerichards.com.
Shit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. First off, I like the under in the Blue Jays Yankees game today. Estrada versus Tanaka. Estrada has his new contract in his pocket, 1 year, $13 million. He's comfortable. He's relaxed. I'm even thinking of maybe throwing a little parlay under and Blue Jays. You can find them at least plus 150 everywhere. I like the Rays over the Orioles. It's Cobb versus a guy I fade every chance I get, Ubaldo Jimenez, or as we call him, Old Ubaldo Jizzman. We are fading against the Jizzman.
Yeah, that's not a positive nickname for him.
It's not. As,
he didn't have that on his jersey that weekend.
Yeah, players
the
weekend.
nicknames. Yeah,
Jizzman.
Yeah.
Next year. I'm also taking the over in the Nationals Mets game. Edwin Jackson is on his 12th major league team. There's a reason why that is. He's got an old spaghetti arm, and it's tired. It's a tired arm. I'm taking the Cubs, minus 130 over the Brewers. Old man Lackey and his giant heart. I'm taking the Angels and Astros game. I'm taking the under with Richards versus Verlander. And now to football.
Richie's back.
Yeah, Richie's back.
Okay.
From
Yeah, he's looking good. Okay, and now we have our football calls.
Okay, NFL, let's do it.
I like the Broncos minus 3 over the Bills very much. and I like the Raiders -3 over the Redskins very much. I will be parlaying those two and providing a lot of action with those two involved. I like the Packers -9 over the Bengals. I'm with Mike with the Steelers -7 over the Bears and the Dolphins -6 over the Jets. I will be parlaying these games together. I will be doing some with the line and some with the money line. And I love Gervin in the Oklahoma Derby this week. Obviously, West Coast is going to dominate in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Of course.
The Pennsylvania Derby's on Saturday, Oklahoma Derby on Sunday. And then I'm very excited about UCLA Stanford and USC California. And I have got to further break down those games with my team before I make decisions. But I'm leaning towards Stanford in the UCLA game. And I would love to see California get within 17 points against USC.
That'll be, and as you know, USC gives up points.
They do.
USC gives up points, and they usually have to come from behind. So 17 points in what is a rivalry. Cal's not seen as the bigger program. Obviously, it's UCLA. So that's an interesting pick, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you.
Jimmy the bag. Now,
Go take that to the bank.
Yeah, the bank of RoboCop. Let's see if this works, actually. I'm hoping that it does. I don't know if I did this last week, but...
And now it's time for Mike Richards' Sexy Picks of Gold Sex.
I love gold.
Brought to you by Sports Interaction, Canada's online sports book.
Absolutely. Okay, here we go. You saw Vic's yesterday. I like his picks, but here are mine today. TCU at Oklahoma State, -12.5. It's under that 2 touchdowns. I like Oklahoma State. The Cowboys at home. TCU, El Stinko, as they say in Espanol. -12.5. I like it. New Mexico at Tulsa. Tulsa, it's finally a home game for this team that can score a hell of a lot of points. It's under 10 points. I got -9.5. Take Tulsa all the way to the bank, and for New Mexico, no lucko. That's great Spanish here this morning.
That's on their website too, so it's not,
no lucko
yeah, no
at
lucko.
New Mexico.
No
It was like, well, I don't want to be recruited by those guys.
And watch out, the cartel's listening.
Old Dominion will look like Old Dominion. They play a very good Virginia Tech team. The number hasn't moved very much. I think it's hanging at 28, 27.5. I'll take the 27.5. This team can explode. I like Va Tech at home. Pittsburgh, they're not very good either. At Georgia Tech, under 10 points. Don't mind that at all. At -9, take Georgia Tech. A CFL game. I don't see Ottawa. And by the way, with their, is it Ryan Lindley?
Yeah, I think so.
Or David Lindley, the former guitar player.
Tate's out of action as well. So that's his third quarterback.
Yeah, I don't like -7, especially in the CFL. But I got to be honest, I'm pretty comfortable with Winnipeg at home at -7. And then I'm just going to throw out a couple of games here. If you just want guaranteed money, Leicester City and Liverpool in the Prem, they're both going to score. It only pays a 1.6 if I'm going decimal, but I don't know what the final score is going to be. Looks like a freak game to me. You never know with Leicester. Who can count on Leicester? And Liverpool always coughs up goals when they shouldn't. Sometimes they get red cards when they shouldn't. Both teams will score. NFL, I like the Giants at -6. I like Denver at -3.5. And Pittsburgh, even at -7, I'm going to take it because Chicago can't do anything offensively. Those are your sexy gold picks of gold sex, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it right there, David.
Impressive.
Well done.
Do you like those? Because it's.
I like them. I like them
I
a
think
lot.
that Giants game was a +6, not a -6. I think you get some points with the Giants.
Oh, hold on. So hold on.
Against the Giants. So
I'm betting against the Giants.
Oh, you're betting against the
Giants.
Giants.
So you know
Okay.
what? I actually didn't say the Eagles. I said the Jets game. Yeah, I'm not taking the Giants +6.
No.
Okay, let's take that again. Take 2. I'll have to. Hey, we'll put the picks up on the site afterwards, so you know.
Gina Gershon back on set.
Gina Gershon. Okay, so now that was the goal.
Sorry, panic. I have a friend who firmly believes, and he's a great football mind, that the Giants are going to hold a ton of value moving forward, that their roster is just too good. Now, I like the Eagles in this game, but
it's a lot of points, though. A division rival. I mean,
I think Wentz is a great football player, and there's a lot of good happening in Philly. But that Giants roster, and this guy was just hammering me about this yesterday, that Giants roster is too good to be this bad, and there will be a ton of value moving forward. I initially had the Eagles as one of my picks, and after hearing all that, I've let it go, and I'm just going to watch and study this one.
I'm not changing mine.
I think Eagles are a great pick.
Because I think that 66 points in 2 games. that Giants.
It's a lot.
And that secondary.
That offensive line for the Giants sucks.
Porous. And where's the running game? Like, I just don't see. So even if, let's say the Giants somehow find offense, they're not going to find more offense than what Wentz is going to do on the Eagles side of the ball. That's how I look at that game.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I'm just thinking for our listeners moving forward, if the Eagles beat up on the Giants or even just cover on the Giants, I think the Giants will hold a lot of value moving forward. If they're 0-3, I think their roster's too good for them to look this bad, and they're getting shit on by everybody.
Yeah. The question is, when does the pendulum swing the other way? Is it? I just don't. That might be true. I just don't see it this game. And so now we move on to the exciting part of a Friday.
It's Friday, and you know what that means. A little full play with Dave Bastel. He gonna give you some full play you won't forget.
Robocop.
Brought to you by Sports Interaction, Canada's online sports book. Give it something to me, big sexy.
Thank you so much, Mike Luck, on that intro. Here we go. We got 4 live dogs in this one that I'm actually really loving even more, and I hope these numbers kind of stay where they are. So we bought in right now, just in case. Cleveland at Indianapolis. I like Indy in this one. You get plus 1.5 points in this one. They should have beat the Cardinals last week. I know a lot of people didn't think that was going to happen, but with a little bit of shenanigans there that happened at the end, the Colts could have won this game. I think they'll beat the Cleveland Browns. You get 1.5 just in case. Tampa Bay, for some reason, you get 2 points with Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Now,
I like that.
Minnesota's tough to play against in Minnesota, but you're getting a couple of points, and you're getting a big uncertainty at the quarterback position. Sam Bradford isn't a 100% go. They're saying he's in there, but I wouldn't trust that until I actually see him. I'll take Tampa Bay plus the points.
I like that pick.
Detroit is home to Atlanta. Now, Atlanta on the road is a lot different than Atlanta at home. Atlanta at home will not lose a game this year. Atlanta on the road struggled against the Bears, and a lot of people said in week 1, Bears actually should have probably won that game, considering they had 4 downs and 6 or 7 yards to score, and they couldn't score to take that lead, to take that win. They didn't do it. I'll take the Lions plus the 3 points in Detroit.
Let me ask you something, Dave, before you continue on.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think with where Detroit is this year, where they're at, that this is one of the biggest games that they've played, I think, in years.
In years, yes.
I think it is.
Almost dating back to like Wayne Fonts.
Yeah, I think it's a defining moment on how good this team actually is. This is going to be massive in Detroit.
Looked good on Monday night. That was a nice test against a team that a lot of people thought were contenders and so forth. They won that one. They're 2-0. The running game is actually working, which never worked at all last year. So I got them plus the points at home to Atlanta. And I love home teams that get points as well. That's awesome. Here's another scenario too, and it hits that 3.5 mark. I like the Chargers plus 3.5 points against the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs are a solid team. Don't be surprised if the Chiefs are in the conference final. That's okay. But if you're going to give me 3.5 points on a team that could be 2-0 if they had a field goal kicker, I'll take the 3.5. I'll give you the Chiefs 3-point win because I think it's going to be a field goal game. That extra point has given me some confidence in the Chargers. I like the Chargers plus 3.5. $25 on that is a little over 333 if you're going to zip it up in a nice little parlay, and that's my foreplay.
Very nice.
I like it.
Look at that.
I like the Chargers divisional situation. I'm on the other side of the Browns-Colts game.
Okay.
I like the Browns. I'm so excited to see Myles Garrett.
Is he playing though?
Well, he's questionable, but the inside scoop is that he's going to be there.
Okay.
I like you talking over this music.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Is it foreplay?
Yeah.
It is foreplay music.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
See
if I can get the words.
Sports book.
Oh, no.
Give it something to me, big sexy.
There you
go. Give it something. Yes, exactly.
Something big sexy.
I like your picks.
Good luck to all.
Yeah, good luck to everybody.
Let's do it. Let's have a good Sunday.
Yeah, you know what? I think
let's have a good Friday, by
do.
the way. You got a lot of Friday action, too.
I've got a ton of Friday action.
Yeah, go ahead.
I got a ton of Friday action, and then we got the hockey season around the corner. So Saturday action, we'll have college football and hockey going, and then a month later we'll have basketball. Jesus, it's going to be incredible.
No, it's the best. We've just obviously this week talked as we're underway with preseason in hockey. Just the rule changes and how it seems to really be mucking everything up. Is the slashing is going to be one thing, but the face-off situation, to me, they better fix that thing because that's a train wreck. That's a train wreck. Throwing guys out of the circle trying to position themselves. I just don't know how they came to that conclusion that they thought that somehow that was going to be a good idea.
You know what? They're going to straighten things out. They got a couple of weeks to go through this, the motions and so forth. But come regular season, we're not going to see that opening night have, half a dozen face-off violations for minors or the entire game is, 75% of it is going to be played with the man advantage, which would be brutal. It looks stupid. They keep on tinkering with this game that doesn't need tinkering.
I agree.
That's the thing that I don't like about it.
I don't think at any given time I've seen hockey. I mean, hockey around the world. So the game itself has never been played at a higher level than we're seeing right now. I mean, if we'd gone back 20 years ago and looked in places like Switzerland, I would think even, if you're going to go a little off the board, like Latvia and places like, they now play hockey at a level. Now, there's a lot of expats when we start talking about the Swiss program and just how many, ex-Canadians who played professional hockey in those leagues over there who have kids. For instance, Tanner Richard, Mike Richard's son, part of that national team, gets picked up by Tampa Bay, doesn't quite make it. But we're getting to that level where there are guys who played in foreign leagues over there, and they're in the show. They're making the NHL. It's because the skill level is so tight. That's why you don't see international hockey tournaments like the Olympics, where that used to be like the women's side, where you see 14-1.
Yeah,
you're just not going to see that anymore. So if that's the case, don't mess with the game that has evolved, exponentially over the last 10 years, and think that things like face-off circle violations is the way to go, because quite frankly, you were way wrong on that one. I hope they do fix it, Dave.
Yeah, I hope they do too. You know what? Before we go, can we look at the Golden Knights Twitter account?
This is awesome.
This is fantastic.
This is by the way, this goes out to our good friend Paul Smith. That's right, Smitty at ETM, who's so annoying as a Montreal Canadiens fan, always brings up when you get into a conversation how many cups the Montreal Canadiens have won. This courtesy of the Golden Knights in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Now, okay, so let's start off with this first one. It's relating to a game they had, I guess, back and forth with the Canadiens on social media. So the Golden Knights come out and say, we're definitely proud of that first win because they won their first game against the Canucks on Sunday night, 9-4. That was pretty cool. But it says not as proud as the Montreal Canadiens. They actually tag the team of how many championships they went on to win against only 6 teams in the league. So it's a little
c'est dommage.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. A little bit of a burn job on that one. And then we go into some action last night because they were all over the place. They tweet this out in the middle of a first period. A reminder: if we're winning, we take exhibitions as serious as Ivan Drago. When we're losing, we take exhibition games as seriously as Apollo Creed. Yeah. And I think we know what happened. And they're funny references. You don't get this a lot. If you're following a hockey team, for example, I follow the Jets, Winnipeg Jets. They sit there.
Do?
Yeah, which is kind of weird. Wow. And they'll come out with, the Jets signed center Brian Little to a 5-year extension. That's the extent.
Yeah, it's not. There's no sizzle to the steak.
And here over here on Bay Street, same sort of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another funny one was yesterday. So they fell behind early against their opposition. Lots of people yelling "woo" in the arena. This is bad because that means that they're winning, but it's also good because it reminds us of Ric Flair. Woo!
That is awesome.
Another funny one. So it says, just like that, our undefeated streak ends. Final score, them 5, us 2. It moves on. And finally, bad news. Our jokes are about being undefeated have come to a pause because they lost yesterday. Good news. They'll be back, though, still undefeated during the regular season.
We're going to have the sheriff on.
Yeah.
And because he's going to be doing color for the Golden Knights. That's Shane Knighty, by the way. Shane Knighty, the sheriff. We should get a hold of their PR person or whoever's doing that.
It's
because that person's money.
Yeah, it's like some of them you roll your eyes at. Some of them you're like, that's pretty clever. Like the Drago stuff's pretty clever.
Yeah.
The Montreal Canadiens crack anytime.
That's money.
Anytime anybody wants to crack at the Canadiens, because I think that's my number one throwback on the Canadiens, where they won 20 of their Stanley Cups playing against 5 other teams.
There'll be some hate mail now, which is fine. It's fine.
And that's okay.
Nope.
But the creativity is what I appreciate the most.
No, roast beef. Before we go, we always, also to give a little chuckle in terms of the things that we show. We didn't get to the bad ventriloquist the other day. Now, the reason that I bring this up, I don't know if the bag saw it, but there was the most disturbing puppet show that got a lot of views. Some weird sort of right-wing, it was a Christian Science group that had a really weird.
And as soon as you say that, you know that it's going to be good.
That was just really weird. Now,
Christian Science group.
Okay, so because the puppet shows, ventriloquism, that kind of stuff, like how can you take it seriously? Here's a good old boy. Here's a bloke from England, a retired man who said that he's gone through level 5 to be a ventriloquist. And what happens is, God bless him, this is the Brits at their best. He realizes how stupid this is. He realizes how dumb it is, probably, to try to be a ventriloquist. And he tries to do it seriously off the top and then realizes he looks ridiculous.
To level 5. And I've just been out, got myself an assistant. So here you go, folks. I'd like you to meet Herbert.
Herbert.
Ta-da! Say hello, Herbert. Hello. Is that the best you can do? Try that again for all the boys and girls out there. After 3. 1. 2. 3.
Okay, here. That is awesome. Yeah, God bless him. Like, seriously, ventriloquism. I mean, 2017. Oh, look, the doll is talking. Seriously? I mean, okay, if you're in Nebraska, maybe. But otherwise. Oh, and also, just briefly, NCAA football Nebraska's program, our good friend Mike Riley.
Oh, yeah.
He's on the hot seat.
He is.
I hate to see it. But, there's also questions now, the way that football is moving, questioning whether Nebraska truly is one of those big-time programs anymore. And you think about all those glory days at Nebraska.
Reputation says yes, but right now,
it's tough. And for our good friend Mike Riley, he's under the gun for sure. Of the games that you talked about, because you do, are you doing a lock of the day? Is that how that's working?
You
did that last night.
I will do the lock of the day when I think I'll hit.
When you have one.
So 65, 75%.
Okay. So if they're looking for that, they go where to find your stuff?
At Jimmy the Bag on Twitter.
There you go. Just look for the picture of RoboCop.
Yeah.
Here's okay, I'm not going to read that tweet. That's not going to be good for anybody.
What? Somebody offended?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Just become best friends.
I think everyone.
Everybody's offended?
Yeah. Well, it's called Raw Mike Richards. That's right, George Takei Penn. I'd like to thank our good friend Jimmy the Bag for coming in. It's always a lot of fun. We had a ton of picks and courtesy of Sports Interaction and Phil Gray, the senior lines manager. He's had his work cut out for him, and as he mentioned, and I've said it all the time, if you want to get in early on college football, that's kind of where you want to be because those numbers are going to climb. And on Twitter, we'll have all of the picks up today because there's so much to get to, a lot of action. So on behalf of Dave Bastel, Russell, Roast Beef Graham, and Jimmy the Bag, Mike Richards saying have yourself a great weekend and get her done.